Hi guys, so early on today, Marineko decided to give me a 6-star reflex stone, and today is the day of the 20% discount on upgrading stones. So I thought, let's see if I'm lucky, not lucky, and see how easy it's going to be to upgrade. So you can see there's some pretty decent base stats, but none who increase reflex was the ultimate goal. I really love the fact that they added the auto option because it used to be really annoying to click power up all the time. Okay, that's not gonna hurt. Okay, action speed, pretty useless. More action speed. Yeah. Come on, give me something good. Oh, that plus 15. The elusive plus 15 who just never wants to work. So now I've spent around 400,000. Just hoping it's gonna finish earlier than this. Already 20 times. I think the worst I ever got was 4.2 times, and that was on Legendary Stone. Man, did I regret not using a Neris on that one. Okay, come on, now it's time. It's like the black hole of the bank account. Trying to upgrade your stones. I better be getting a good passive out of this. Oh, come on. At this point, I feel it's more expensive than if I was on a discount event. Come on, evolve already. Finally. 2% critical rate. Okay, so I feel like crying, but yeah. Since we're on a discount event, I might just as well just blow all the rest of my money. Well, this one I do use it, but I don't care that much about these stats. It's more for the chance that it evolves like this. I can give the devolved version to Balteon, but with my luck, I feel it's not gonna happen because it's not light, and well, that is my curse. I mean, I think I got a POL once, twice out of Stone Evolution, and I think I got Emerlation, I think it's called, out of Evolution 2. It's pretty bad. Ironically, half the times they do that is when I don't even want it. By the way, the only player who uses this stone in my team is Vanchi, so yeah, this is going to be used as a material because it has literally no stats he needs. Because he's mainly pen and speed, a bit of dribble is nice, but well, crit rates or crit damage can hurt. But it's really pen and speed that make a big difference on him. I know it's nice we don't have to press power up, but it still does take a pretty long time to get all the way to where we want to be. Maybe like a speed ×2 when we're doing this would be nice. Because if we've decided we're going to spend all our money, just stop when we're done or get us the stone faster. I mean, the stream has been going on for 8 minutes and I've powered up 1 stone, and I started powering up a second. This is ironically pretty time consuming. Imagine doing this on your phone, and you would be there for like 5 hours and killing all your battery just to upgrade 2 stones. Come on, rates, go a bit up. Dribble 56, actually pretty interesting for a stone. If I wasn't running Vanchi, I'd actually equip that. Because crit rate, crit damage, defense, and decrease inflicted damage for 80% of strikers, especially utility ones, this is a very good stone. But sadly, it won't work for me. I think a good player to give this to would be maybe Hero. Or yeah, I think that kind of player is best to give these stones to. And so you don't have to invest so much in crit stones or line crits. It feels every time they do these kind of events that your rate of getting a power-up stone is going to be lower. I don't know, it's compared to regular, I feel the rate is lower. Maybe it's just me, but it usually doesn't take me that long when I'm doing it in the non-special event times. Well, 14 and 15 are always the hardest to get, but still. I always hate when it just takes 10 hours to do it. I'm gonna see how many extra useless stones I have, and maybe I'm gonna do a paid evolution to a unique, and we can upgrade that, so it's gonna be a bit more interesting. What I mainly need are light ones, ironically. Especially Megatron's Will would be nice. Yeah, I'm starting to think I'm cursed here. Come on, finish! Finally! Well, it's not even the last one. I might be able to upgrade 2 more stones, and this is all I can do this event. I'm still shocked at how much it's costing me. I mean, it's been over $1 million a stone. Well, that was fast. Okay. I guess it's better that he takes 30 times on the plus 40 and the plus 15. Okay, so I was saying maybe doing an upgrade. So what do we have from level that we want to sacrifice? Yes, I have these two. I mean, let's be honest. This one's pretty useless. I guess for maybe 1 or 2 specific players that has value, but it's not one of the ones you want. Maybe Ravian will work good on her. Well, actually, I'm going to lock it just in case. Ignition Catalyst is very good. Sadly, I prefer running Endless Burning Matter in my backline, and that's the only character who has a red slot. So I guess it's out. And actually, Power Up, yeah, let's be a bit more correct. So this one I just need it, so it's not going to be sacrificed. Increase critical resistance, reflex. That's not that interesting. Well, white is a hyped stoning pen power, to be honest. Receiving pass effect. This one's pretty weak too. Okay. Now the game just decided to lag on its own. Okay, and I really have no idea why I have this plus 15. I don't know why I would upgrade it. So, we want a light stone. So just, what are the stats of this thing? Okay, just look at this stone and tell me exactly how Vonchi would care about this. I'm going to tell you right now, he doesn't give a shit. I've never seen such a bad stone in my life. I mean, decreased damage is nice, but dribble and pen, I mean, how is this plus 15? I do not get it. So it's going to be sacrificed. I mean, for such a bad stone, it has to give me luck at some point. And we said sacrifice. Oh, that's the one we still want to sacrifice. Yeah, I would sacrifice that right away. I mean, I could keep that one in case for some special funky stuff I want to pull off. Was this one specifically? I hate how it's like, it depends where exactly you click. It either feels like doing it or it doesn't feel like doing it. Action speed, steal, receiving pass. But I don't understand why you would give a penstone steal. So I'm also going to get rid of this one. Critical resistance. Well, I do like having stones with reflex, but the pen one means nothing to me. And well, this one had to be sacrificed. So let's see my luck, and let's hope that it's not POL or... I keep forgetting the name of the other one. Well, let's just hope it's either the one that gives crit or the one that gives reflex. And that's how ones get poor. Oh yeah! Milky Way's gonna be happy. Oh, crit damage on top of it. Perfect. And dribble. Nice. Those are some really good base stats. Alright, so I'm gonna be finally able to use Milky Way the way I intended to use her. So do I have any of those crit damage stones too, or... Oh, and I'm gonna also upgrade this one. Both of them combined is what I'm gonna stick on Milky. My team goes highly under the principle of healing, so The idea of this is that my front line is going to heal very hard. I've already given a lot of those to Balton, but the thing is I'm running a Vonchi Balton Milky Way line. So speed is not the problem. Crit is really not the problem. I mean, Vonchi and Balton both have above 160 when I start the match. It's just Milky Way is lacking survival. Oh yeah, this is what I call some stoning. That is what the passives I want. I'm happy with failing every other stone before this one. Okay, that works for me. And then the whole point of my team is basically that it's hard to steal the ball. They have still some decent reflex, especially my mid line, as I have Metatron, who keeps getting everything nerfed except her reflex. So it's ironically getting much better. Oh, this is getting really interesting for Stone. I'm very happy with the passives. I mean, dribble is the only thing that she actually needs. Because half the time she usually gets stolen upon. I know that she's supposed to steal, but that's never when she has a problem, ironically, because she has a passive that reduces her damage by 60% when she attacks, so that's not a real problem. It's more when she holds the ball, she just gets penetrated and destroyed. So I know dribble is not the stat one would look for, but for me, it's better than what you would usually get. For critical damage, I mean, it really isn't going to hurt with what I'm going to stick with it. And let's hope maybe one other stat. Crit rate would be not bad. Ooh, I've never actually seen a dribble stat that high on any stone, to be honest with you. So that's pretty powerful. I mean, at a 77, it starts actually being viable for Vonchi, even if it doesn't give speed. Because if you've noticed, Vonchi increases attack power by percentage on 80% of his abilities. So increasing the base dribble makes a huge difference. That's why every time you soup him, you're going to see an increase in 3 to 400 dribble, which is actually a lot compared to a lot of other players when you increase them and you see 30, 50, maybe 80, and the real advantage is their skill. And now we go into what I call the Gold Fest, where you just wait slowly and slowly as you see your gold slowly drain and thinking of all the hours you spent farming it, and it's just going down the drain. Millions of gold. I think this took me over a week to farm. Yeah, I was planning to do another stream, but I mean, I wanted to test my luck. I'm not regretting it. I'm not regretting it. I do feel a little bit stupid, but I'm not regretting it. 2%, really? That I'm disappointed in. I really hate when you get like 1-2%. I'm not saying they're not useful. I'm just saying they're always really low, and you're just staring at it like, why are you doing this to me? You know, especially when you got a perfect stone at plus 12, and then at plus 15 it decides to give you the stat that actually cancels out its value. Like for example, giving speed to a reflex stone you're gonna give to Metatron. I mean, let's be honest, the whole point of her is that she has damage resist, crit resist, and whenever you attack her, she's going to heal the line and steal the ball with high reflex. So when a stone finally decides to give her speed, you're just staring and you're like, well, now I can't use it anymore, and I've just plus 15 the entire stone for nothing. And that's how you usually end up making new uniques. Okay, let's hope I'm not too unlucky again on the pluses, because I do need to... Oh, nice. Now, the plus 15, and then when I'm done with this, I need to do the crit damage stone, and actually hope it doesn't transform into a unique, but with my luck, I actually think that's not going to be a problem. And I already do have the unique version of that on Balton with some very decent substats, but in the worst case scenario, I can always re-roll them, or I can take one of his, because he runs the legendary version and the non-legendary version, who gives him an insane amount. Plus, he has a lot of damage resist, so on average, when he gets attacked, especially in PvE, he actually heals more than the damage he takes, who allows him to just hold the ball in my front line whenever, for some reason, Vonchi isn't able to shoot or Milky Way has issues. So it's actually a very good method. And we're just gonna wait. La. I have at some point gonna have to find out how to put some music in the background of this. I found out how to put my mic, but I haven't found out how to put music who wasn't involved with the game. I guess it's because I'm not using the most standard program for recording. I'm using Xcast, who isn't made for emulator games, I'm gonna guess. It is still fun. So critical rate. Well, I guess it can't really hurt. It's really not what I would be looking for, but it won't affect her that bad. Okay, and then we're gonna just go back here and we need to max this out. Pass, decrease inflicted damage. Well, yeah, those are all actually very good. Because, to be honest, I mean, everyone keeps giving her penetration stone, but if you've ever actually used her in PvP, you're gonna realize that she's not gonna try to steal that often. I mean, she is fast, but stealing isn't her actual value. I mean, she's gonna try to steal. It's always gonna be a fail, to be honest. So you more want her to do the pass, which she's gonna do, who's gonna give the bonuses, and to get speed. Those are really good substats on her. And survival tends sometimes to be an issue. That's why I'm giving her the setup. At the place of giving her some sort of reflex stone or speed stone in the midline. Receiving pass effect 10%. Okay, I'm really not going to complain. I mean that whenever Balton's just going to give her a pass and she holds the ball, she's going to be very powerful. And she can do passes to other players too. Well, it's not really the ideal setup, but it's actually much better than what it could have been. And when I mean what it could have been, there's a lot of substats you actually never really want to see on someone in frontline. For example, crit resist. No one in frontline is ever going to crit you. So whenever you see that, you're extremely sad. While on the opposite, if you're stoning someone in backline, that is a stat you're really going to want to look for. Because near endgame, strikers are going to be above 160 crits. Some of them can even go, I think that the official stat of what you got to aim for is 265. Somehow if you get around there, there's no way they're going to block your crit. So at the place, you just want some crit resist, meaning, well, whatever you crit me, you're not actually going to beat me. It's a double-edged blade. I mean, by that way, you're inviting them to crit you, but depending on their crit damage, it's a good or a bad thing. Defense is actually good again, as I said, she tends to hold the ball pretty often and to take damage. On my line, she is the one they usually penetrate. Because, let's be honest, penetrating Balteon is insane, and if Vonchi has the ball or tries to steal, around the third shot, he's around 3,600 dribble. So, unless you can out-reflex him, who's ironically pretty hard with Milky Smile Maker and his second passive, even if you do, you're going to leave with one hype, and when they come back in, he's going to one-tap you shooting, so it's no issue whatsoever there. Okay, 1% is, I find that highly insulting. I once actually had 0.5%. I didn't even know there were points in this game, but that is a thing. So I guess it could really be worse, but not that much anymore. And yes, I know this is very sad. So I'm gonna have spent 3 million gold to finalize my Milky Way. That's actually pretty good. But I'm starting to get fed up of seeing how long it's taking. I would just prefer if it finished upgrading, because I always like to have around 1 million extra gold in case I get, that one magical stone you always wanted and you never get. When I mean those, I mean, and we all know it, that light and that Andor reflex. Well, in my case, it's more light reflex because I have a lot of light slots that are empty. And for some reason, since the beginning of the game, I have never gotten a single 6-star Thunder defense. And I've been playing for a few months already, and I'm pretty frustrated with that, because I would really like to give it on Isilla, and I just don't get it. So I've actually given her an Andor damage decrease. And now that I think about it, it might not be maxed out, so when we're done with this, I'm just going to max it out. It's really not the ideal stone, but again, in PvE, it's not a big deal that you have the perfect stones on your goalkeeper line, as long as you have a decent formation. They're not going to defeat you at the fact that they do high damage. They're going to defeat you at the fact that they're going to attack you very often. You're going to have issues leaving the line. So that's why having a Virgil and an Isilla in backline, combining that 30% hype, is going to be very important, especially near endgame in COD. It's going to allow you to just never die. A very common way is after to have a passer, but I found that that's really not the solution, as very often you're just waiting for their active cooldown to happen, and it gets very frustrating because that's all they can really do, except for maybe one or two of them who have some decent reflex, but it's very limited because again, you're boosting their pass effect. You're gonna give a +5 to their active. You want them to be able to do the pass. Just there's no real reduced cooldown stone out there. If there was that, well, again, it would make it game breaking, but it somehow would be less frustrating to use those. At this rhythm, the Andor store is not going to be upgraded because I'll blow all my money on this one. I just really hope it doesn't upgrade to a 7-star at this point. That would just be a dick move. I know that because I said that, I just jinxed it, right? No, it's okay. I don't have that kind of luck. It's never going to turn. I mean, I had to combine it to get it last time. And if anyone is doing statistics, I'm going to post up this video on a few of those pages. Just since I decided to do free stones and I maxed them out in one shot. A lot of people are doing stats on this to see exactly what are the rates and to calculate an average to understand exactly is using Neresis a good idea or not. Because everyone has a different opinion on this. Again, it's going to depend your luck. Sometimes you're going to be really lucky and it's going to make literally no sense. And sometimes you're going to be really unlucky and you're going to say, damn, if only I had used them, I could have saved so much gold. I mean, I've seen sometimes the +15 take one time. I mean, when you see that and you're thinking, I could have sacrificed 1 million worth of gold of Nereus and without even counting the sell bonus, it's not interesting. But sometimes when you see it go above 80 and you're just there, I mean, you're getting super frustrated. You're starting to insult BB. Yeah, it's big ball, by the way, in case people don't remember. And that's when you really hope you had used them. So, I mean, if only we could know in advance, we know exactly when to use them. Sadly, that is not the case. Because no one was ever using them. They've decided to reduce the quantity you needed. Decrease inflicted damage. That actually is pretty useful to me. Yeah, like I was saying, they've decreased it, so it's not that bad anymore. Just see what I have that I should max. They should all be pretty much +15, unless stones I've given to players I don't care about. Again, these are players I'm not even using, so that's why the stones are so bad. Yeah, I think. Okay, I actually do use her. Like I said, this is just a temporary stone. For some reason, Isila has an insane recovery power because I've given her stones who give that. It's really not valuable, but it used to be a decent mechanic back in the day. The thing is that for a goalkeeper, it doesn't make that much sense anymore because all it does is over time it gives you life back and it allows you to restart after you die with more life. So it's really useful actually on frontline and attackers and midline. Also a bit of backline, but it's the problem with a goalkeeper is if the goalkeeper is taken out, 95% of the time it's because they've shot, so the game's over. And if not, the next action they're gonna do is shoot whoever they pass it to because they instantly win. So it's not something that the goalkeeper in itself needs. But I mean, for damage, decreased damage stone, that is the only passive you can get. So until I finally get that Thunder defense, I'm just going to be running this one. Yeah, when I go to 100,000, I'm just going to take a break and put on the Milky Way stones. Just so after all of this, I actually can use what I made. It's just a question of principle. At least get +12. And this is why people save hundreds of thousands of gold and don't understand why they have any left. And this is very frustrating on the long term. So this is why earlier I've made a guide on how to get gold. Yes, getting gold is actually a very grindy thing. It's easier on the weekend, but it's still highly grinding. And we keep waiting, we keep waiting. Also, a thing that can happen sometimes, who can be very frustrating for some people, is when they finally got a stone they really wanted, and it turns into the evolved version of the stone, the legendary version, and they had it in their prime slot, and they don't actually have that color, and equipping the stone is done automatically, basically, and they just can't run a stone. They've plussed I don't know how much, and they've just wasted so much time trying to get. That can be extremely frustrating for certain stones. It happened to me on my Andor Reflex. Ironically, it was equipped on Virgil. It becomes an EMBA, so I'm just gonna say it was not that bad a deal. But if it were to happen to me a second time, I think I would be extremely frustrated. Because I mean, we just spent a fortune on a stone. We just want it to be equipped right now. Yeah, I'm quitting. Oh, right. The time I quit is the time it decides to upgrade, right? Okay, so we're gonna watch our little friend Milky Way get extremely powerful. So what does she have in her stone slots? So again, when you're running Milky Way, you always want to have a green action speed because it has a critical resistance, who's very decent for front lines. Well, not that decent, but it can be very helpful. Decreased damage, reflex, always reflex, pass and dribble. I mean, every stat here is pretty useful. I've been running this just because it gives more hype and more attack power, and the substat in this stone are very good. I'm going to be replacing it right now, but one tip that you're going to find very important is that when you want to change stones, if you do change and you propose even another legendary stone, it's going to give you an amount of, for example, 21,000. But if at the place you decide to unequip the stone in itself, oh, this time it actually did it. A lot of times, if you do this for a 6-star stone, and you want to equip a legendary and there's not a legendary in the slot, it's a better deal to unequip manually and then equip the stone back after. I know it doesn't make that much sense, but it's sadly how the game works. Again, if I wasn't running the Virgil the way I'm running him, this would have been still a very interesting stone with that 77 dribble. Actually, maybe I should switch that out. Okay, I'm going to just check something after this. Okay, which one is the best? That is the important question. Reflex, action speed, steal, defense. Well, let's be honest. That is a perfect substat for Milky Way, and critical rate, we don't care. Defense, it was lower. Dribble is not as good. Inflicted damage, it has a better inflicted damage, but that action speed is just too much. Here, see 12,000. It also depends the plussing of the stone when you're trying to remove them. Yeah, and there's some action speed in there, some defense. Decreased inflicted damage is exactly the same value, so we're not really gonna be losing in there. But the one important thing to notice is that this is gonna increase critical damage, and we're gonna recover an amount of the critical damage. So again, this kind of stone setup is not made for PvP, as PvP heals have limitations. It's divided by 2, and even then, it seems that sometimes when you use these stones, it might be even divided by more. So it's not advised for PvP, but for PvE, who's the thing I care the most about, it's a very good build. And again, the critical rate is going to go up very high with this, so it should be very interesting, at least if she's got a fight. I see critical damage at 76%, decreased damage at 11.6. It's not that epic. She does have a 24 pen with no Scylla in the line, and that action speed is not bad. She's going to be put center mid. The reason you don't see her there is because my extra player is going to be put on the side. So it's very common not to actually see her there. In PvP, I'm having some technical difficulties as the player that's supposed to be in this line goes in mid line. So if you fight me, do not be surprised you can beat my mid line, and my front line is going to be a little bit weaker. And now we had a light reflex stone, so the question is, who's getting it? I'm thinking he has one that wasn't 6-star, but what were the substats? Yeah, he's a good option. And Metatron, because I've got her pretty recently, so what are her sub-steal, crit rate? Oh no, that's not going to be removed ever. And no, we're not touching those. Those are perfect. Well, it's not really the perfect stone setup. This actually maybe should be given to Metatron. Well, that's actually in speed, actually, so I prefer not giving it to her. And this is what a Metatron will looks more like when you want it to be for midline, penetrating, receiving pass, dribble, speed, height. That's more what you're going to be looking for. So I'm gonna say Virgil's more interesting than her at this point in time. To give the reflex stone. Well, actually, Milky Way doesn't have a light slot. Who else is there? That we're not even gonna consider him. Magnus. He has an Andor reflex. The only one I had who didn't feel like evolving was the only way of life. That defense stone is gonna have to go eventually. Sticking in a reflex wouldn't be that bad of a deal. Yeah, so it's basically between these two. I'm gonna say he already has the speed, he has burning matter, he has one reflex. But by base, a Virgil doesn't have that much reflex, especially when you're comparing to a Magnus, who's 1,400, and the reflex skill is not even maxed out yet. So I'm gonna say Magnus has the most value for this stone currently. I'm not saying that it's not gonna be interesting to put it to the other one, but 6,000. Yeah, okay. Just to point out my point, to unequip is 6,000 on this stone, and if I were to tell it to change it for this stone, okay, I feel like somehow here something has been changed, or maybe I just imagined the whole thing. I don't know. It was different values before. Maybe it's been changed in an update. Again, I haven't really looked at those values in a while, so it could really just be that. And this means I have another sacrifice stone for my next Evo. I'm too poor to do one, sadly, but it's okay. Yeah, this is the good setup, except this one stone, because I can get the Thunder Death. We're just gonna, for the principle of a stream, I'm just gonna finish the remaining money, and I'm gonna cry because I'm just throwing it there at this point. It's not even saying I'm using. I know it's not gonna happen, but it's just to have that little percentage thing when you start upgrading it next time. Okay, so basically we got a good reflex stone, and Milky Way just got a serious buff. She's now basically perfectly stoned. I mean, the passives could be improved, but it's still the perfect stoning. Balton is perfect, Vonshi is perfect. She's missing a reflex. Well, she's actually perfect. She's missing a ledge. I don't really know what I could give him more. She's perfect with the legendary. He has a version who's one level and 1 star under, and she's missing a stone. So basically, I'm like 3 stone down from what I would consider an ideal setup. Lilith on her end is really dependent on one of her skills, who's Entice, who I haven't maxed out. So until I really max this one out, it's still a little bit weak. I'm really just using her as a totem currently. So it's really steel I'm working on. I mean, at some point I could throw in a reflex to replace the steel. I'm just gonna take care of that later, because I'm thinking maybe she might be replaced. So I'm not gonna invest too much in her. But at least if I ever want to do the Mono Dark Coliseum of Trial, she's still a very good player. So this stream took much longer than I thought it would, because I was originally just thinking of doing the light reflex. Well, I thank you for being here with me, and you can see my rage in the fact it cost me 4,000 to basically upgrade 3 stones, who's kind of bad when you think about it. And yeah, even if it's 20%, you're going to realize very fast it's going to cost you a fortune. So thank you very much, and have a good day.